Right then everyone, it's back to the old school I'm afraid, because you still aren't getting it. And although you may claim, oh yes, I know all of that, yes, unfortunately none of you are observing these laws. Your lifestyles don't abide by these, it's obvious. So I'm going to have to go through them again with you, because this applies to many people today, as it always has. Right back in Exodus, Exodus 20, here we are, the Ten Commandments. And as God was giving these laws to Moses, the children of Israel that he'd rescued from Egypt, out of the house of bondage, as it says here, were building for themselves a golden calf and worshipping an idol. And guess what was number one on his list? Not to worship any idols, to have no other god beside him, number one, and not to make an idol. Now, many of you are laughing at this one and thinking, oh, silly children of Israel, what were they playing at? Worshipping a dumb idol that they have built for themselves. But yeah, this is extremely relevant today, and people are actually doing this more, committing idolatry more than the children of Israel were back in Exodus, and I'll go through that and why this is the case. But yeah, many boys and girls, I have noticed, just not understanding how these laws apply to themselves, or making any effort to do anything about it. Yeah, they are committing, in some cases, the majority of these sins. I mean, okay, children lie, yeah, it's normal. But how many children lie to put other people in trouble? Okay, because this is inexcusable, even at a young age. And I see a lot of kids doing it, okay, and unfortunately a lot of women, yeah, fully grown women are doing this, lying about people, gossip. Now the problem with gossip, the Bible does mention this, I'll go over it in a minute, the verses on gossip. The problem with that is you risk bearing false witness of others because you're gossiping all the time. Oh, look what she said. Oh, look what he's done. Oh, yeah. Oh, check this one out. No, keep your mouth shut. You get yourself in trouble. Not only do you jeopardize the integrity and dignity of others, but you do so for yourselves as well by doing this. People won't respect you, and you could be responsible for spreading a bunch of lies. This is not good. This is one of the commandments, I'm afraid. And you're just oblivious. Why are you oblivious of this? And another one, okay, very relevant for women these days. Thou shalt not covet anything of thy neighbours. How relevant is this to women these days, who are constantly on Facebook comparing themselves with other couples and wanting what they've all got? I mean, this is a big one. This is a big one these days, especially for women. False witness, there we go. Children telling lies to get other people in trouble. Yeah, it's a commandment. And unfortunately, even adults are doing this. Not so much the men, yeah. They know not to grass on others or even spread lies about them, but definitely women and children are doing this an awful lot. Thou shalt not steal. Kids do this, okay, you tell them off, you give them a hiding, they learn not to do that as they get older. Well, most of them do anyway. Now, some of these, yeah, most people know not to do, but then others that are equally as important, people don't know not to do, and they're still doing it, like these, okay? And these, well, the ones right at the top of the list, okay? Right at the top, and you're all doing it. Honour thy mother and father. This is difficult when you're young, but yeah, as you get older, you learn to respect your parents more, especially once you've left home. Now, kids don't do this, thankfully, although things are changing a bit in the 21st century. Let's go over taking the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Yeah, many of you think you are, and do it anyway, but no. Anyway, the Lord thy God will not acquit him that takes his name in vain. Now, many of you think this means saying the Lord's name as a way of cursing. Yes, that is one way that you can do this, but another way is to make a promise in the name of God and then break that promise. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Now, some of you go to church, yeah, many of you take a day off during the week. That's great, but are you keeping that day holy? That's the big question. Here we go, and it expands on this. 6 days thou shalt labour and perform all thy work, but on the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. Yeah, it's not just a day off to go out and get inebriated and make a fool of yourself. Yeah, it's a day of the Lord, you keep it holy. Yeah, there we go. Honour thy mother and thy father. This one, yeah, this one is relevant to many of you and you don't even know it. How many of you commit to murder in your own heart? How many of you hate your brother or sister and in the worst case wish that they were dead or think about killing them? Because let me tell you, this in some cases is worse than the domestic violence out of impulse that can lead to a tragic murder for which the person involved lives in great regret and remorse for the rest of their lives whilst they're behind bars. But at least they aren't committing to murder in their heart and dwelling on the matter as many of you may be. I've been over all of them now, okay. What I'm going to do now is go over some of the other commandments that are discussed later, namely on gossip and the other acts of adultery. What else can be considered adulterous and abominable?